Hey, I just want to begin by, giving our condolences and thoughts and prayers with Coach Knight's family during this difficult time of loss. And just want to just reflect and say, being born and raised in this state and being an Indiana basketball, fan when I was a kid, and just everything he meant to our university and being one of the greatest, coaches in the history of our country, in any sport. And so just I want to just acknowledge him and appreciate his family at this time and be able to, remember him in highest regards. Questions?
Nathan Todd.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
I'm okay. I wanted to ask you about Josh Henderson. Obviously, he came back this past week, played for you guys. I know he's been a big part of the offense the last couple of years. Just how big was it to get him back? What did you see from him? And, how much of a boost could he give your running game, not just as a runner, but as a receiver over these last 4 weeks?
Yeah, he's very important to us. And you saw that. I know he worked really, really hard to come back and really encouraged to see him do what he did this past weekend. And, not surprised. He's such a solid guy in every phase of catching the ball, pass protection, running, obviously. So it just gives us a great presence out there, and a lot of good, strong leadership in that room and on that side of the football. So great to have him back. Going to need him, in each of these last 4 regular season games, and expect him to continue to just get healthier each week and get back to who he is, which we know he's a great, great player for us.
Todd and Mike News.
Hey, Tom, I know you spoke on Monday about the Michigan sign stealing situation. I wanted to ask you about kind of espionage in football generally. I mean, how much time do you have to devote to dealing with it? How prevalent is it? Maybe how naive are we to how prevalent it might be? Kind of give me an idea of how that kind of plays out at this level.
Well, I would say, on game day, there's a high level of effort that goes into being able to efficiently, sign to your, respective areas on offense and defense to be able to, as you see, we go to great lengths with trying to protect that as best as possible. That's kind of the gamesmanship of football. So that's part of it. In college, you're trying to figure out what they're doing, and a lot of effort goes into that, trying to, change the signals up, have dummy signalers. You can see on game day all the different mechanisms that people use to try to confuse. People use wristbands. They sometimes will huddle, so guys can't figure out what they're doing. So that would be kind of the game day. Go back and forth. Everybody kind of does that. We talk to other teams. Hey, what's this? What's that? Whether it's signals for personnel or the actual calls themselves. So that's just kind of part of it. So, but then there's another angle of this, or another, component of doing things that are illegal. Of whether it's, you cannot scout a team in person. That's illegal for college football. You can't video them. You can't video the signalers. So those are things that are crossing the line. And so that's not a part of football. That's not a part that's accepted in football. And so that's just, there are two different things in my opinion. But the game day part of it is it's extensive. There's no doubt, and there's a lot that goes into it. And guys trying to, because obviously if you know what another team's running or doing, it's a very strong advantage.
Mike and Jim.
Yeah, so I'm referencing kind of your opening statement about Coach Knight. Had you ever met him, and what were your kind of earliest memories, I guess, of his teams? And what did you? I know you're very different stylistically as he was, but what did you appreciate about him as a coach?
Interestingly or sadly, I would say I never met him. And I wish I had, but I had not, and did not have that opportunity. And so, but from a, earliest memories, just the intensity, the passion. I shared last night, my first time ever seeing him when I was a boy at Newcastle when he was recruiting Steve Alford. He came to one of his games, and so I got to see him there. I didn't realize how big a man he was until then, and just such an imposing presence. But this, to me, the motivation, the toughness, the defensive emphasis, guys, I guess the way I perceived it was, man, guys went to class. They graduated. They did things the right way on and off the field. He didn't tolerate that, and just the consistent, performance of his teams of just being tough, gritty, competitive. And so just, that's the part I loved. Like I said, I didn't know, never seen him coach in person in terms like at a practice or anything like that. Just in some games that I've seen in person, obviously everything else was all from a distance, but just, any time a person has that level of success in any sport, it's hard to do without a question, especially for a long period of time, So, but I just think just the toughness and, obviously just the way his teams executed and then just trying to get the most out of your players, get them to play to the highest potential that they've been given. So those are the things that kind of stick out to me about him. We are going to wear helmet decals on Saturday in honor of him with his initials on our helmets.
Did the whole town show up for that recruiting visit when he came?
Well, the whole town showed up for pretty much every basketball game in Newcastle. So, when you got a town that's about 20,000 people and the high school gym seats 10,000 people, and it was, I know for Steve's senior year, every game was packed. I was every one of them. And so, really some distinct memories of that. And there's no question he was highly regarded in Newcastle and still is to this day.
Jimmy and Jack.
Hey, Tom, how are you?
I'm doing great, buddy. How are you?
Good, sir. Thank you for asking. Wisconsin this weekend, probably, I don't want to say the toughest game left on the schedule because they're all tough, but from the statistical standpoints and all that, Wisconsin is the toughest game left on the schedule, needing to win all of them to become bowl eligible, which is still out there for you guys. What do you have to do differently this week that has not been done last week? There was the moment when the decision was made to go for a field goal instead of going for it. Is it now a time to where when those moments come again, you kind of have to push yourself to go for things you normally wouldn't?
Well, I would say this. There's no doubt. You just talk about being aggressive. Yeah, we got to be aggressive. There's going to be some calculated risks that need to be taken as you move forward into situations like this. I think that you look at that game last week. You say, what do you need to do different? Well, we need to eliminate some of those self-inflicted mistakes. We got to catch all the punts. We got to be great on special teams. We got to not have, we call them cats. Crimes against the team. Jumping off sides on offense, or we had an illegal procedure penalty by our punt team. That cannot happen. Those are things that that hurt us and hurt our team. And then just executing in critical situations. And then I think you're right. Being more aggressive without question. But I think in that situation, would I have still kicked a field goal? Yes. What you maybe called it lead up to that field goal. Yeah, that's where you want to be more aggressive. But as far as the field goal itself, you got in a situation where there's 3 minutes to go in the game, and you got a chance to tie the game. I think that's you need to do that. Now, if there's less than that, you're not going to have no chance of getting the ball back. Our defense was playing really good at the time. You expect to get a stop, get the ball back, and go win the game, or have a chance to beat them in overtime. But at the same time, those are variables that play into it. But yeah, I think you're right. It's everything the game, nothing to lose. You got to go. You got to play. You got to be aggressive. You got to let it rip. We got to coach that way. We got to play that way. And I want to see our guys do that. But there's no doubt that the intensity is elevated. There's urgency each week, as there always is. But I think it definitely gets heightened when it's it's at stake.
Jack and Kevin.
Hey Tom, when we talked to Brendan Sorsby on Monday, he mentioned that kind of to a certain degree he likes taking hits, or he likes delivering hits in the run game. It kind of fires him up, I guess. Have you had any conversations with him about that in terms of trying to find a balance of like highlighting that aspect of his game because it is one of his better traits, but also trying to stay safe with that?
Without question. We just talked about, picking and choosing when those, because he said the same thing to us. Coach Hal gets me fired up. I love to run guys over. Like, well, we gotta be smart. You're not a linebacker. You do have to throw the football. So, but I love that mindset. I love that toughness. I love that it kind of attracted us to him when we recruited him. Saw that on film. And so, but you got to pick and choose. You got to know, okay, if we got to get a first down, it's third down, or it's fourth down, then yeah, it's time time to lower your shoulder and go make a play. But if that's not the case, you got to be able to eliminate some of those unnecessary hits, that will happen. And you're obviously playing against, elite level defensive players that have one objective, and that is to affect the quarterback. And they know those hits add up as well. So we just got to be smart. We've obviously talked him through that. We'll continue to do that. He is still young, but you love that edge about him. You love that swagger and that ability to want to do and play that way. We just got to be smart.
Kevin, and then we'll wrap this up.
Hey, Coach, going back to Michigan, late last night there was a report that said that the vast majority of Big Ten coaches got on a call yesterday with Commissioner Petitti expressing their ongoing frustrations with the sign stealing investigation and coaches urging action against the program. I was wondering, were you involved in that call? And if so, what role did you have in those conversations?
Well, we had a Big Ten call. That is accurate. And that was, private information that was shared, with our commissioner from our coaches. And people got on there. We got on there and voiced our opinions and basically, make sure we share with him what we thought. So that will obviously be moving forward, and we'll see what the Big Ten chooses to do.
Hey, Seth, last one.
Tom, you talked before about the way you're approaching the game now, kind of needing to win out to make a bowl game and needing to take more calculated risks. Do you sense your players kind of feeling that urgency as well at all? And does that situation, needing to win out, does that kind of change anything about the way they're approaching this game?
Well, I just think that, as we talked as a team, when you're in a playoff mindset of you understand what's at stake, there's an urgency and intensity that gets elevated, whether it's, NFL playoffs or, you talk about the college playoff or, high school playoffs, when you're playing in that kind of situation, kids have all been through that in high school, and so bottom line is that any time you're in this moment of understanding what's at stake, it increases the intensity, increases that, and it should, and so, but at the same time, you got to be very locked into this is one game, one focus, just like you did. I've been part of, several, state championship playoff runs in high school, or opportunities where you have to win a football game to be able to continue doing what you want to do and be where you want to be. So bottom line is that there's some maturity to that. You have to understand that it's still 1-0 mindset. All the energy, all the focus is just on this one game and nothing beyond that. That's what we can control, is what we do today and in this moment. So, but you want our guys to play free and aggressive and physical and just, play with confidence, but you're not playing to not make a mistake. You're playing to make a play and be your best, So you just want them to be able to be aggressive and it's just, I think that they understand the urgency, what we're at, the situation we're in, and the way our schedule played itself out and how we have to attack them each one at a time here at the end. So love the guys' approach this week. Obviously, we're playing a very, very good football team, and every team in this conference has a lot of really good players on it, and it's going to be a very, very challenging battle. So we got a lot of respect for them, and we know we're going to play our best football of the season on Saturday, and we expect us to do that.
All right, thanks, Tom.
Appreciate you guys. Have a great day. Elio.